Our story starts on a salvage ship currently investigating a sunken vessel. A diver named Nelson has just come up from the seafloor to inform his captain that he's found the ship they're looking for. The only problem is that it looks like someone has recently been there. This is suspicious because they have been out in this area for a while and haven't seen signs of anyone else. So Nelson and another man named Carly are soon back in the water to further investigate the wreckage. They almost immediately notice that the ship's hatch is now open, even though it wasn't just a short while ago. Inside the ship, the men catch a fleeting glimpse of a swimming man, but they think that this has got to be impossible because they are so far underwater. The Sub-Mariner Namor watches them. He doesn't seem to be sure exactly what they are, thinking that they must be some form of robot. He tries to disable the robots by cutting the cables trailing behind them. This severs the divers from their oxygen, power, and ability to communicate. Namor then kills the two men, stabbing one and crushing the helmet of the other. Soon after, the crew on the ship start to notice bubbles on the surface of the water, and that there's a strange lack in communications, so they send in another man to investigate. He finds the bodies of his crewmates while Namor watches. Startled, the sailor quickly flees back to his ship. The captain orders the ship back to port to report this incident, but the propeller suddenly stops as Namor uses his superhuman strength to stop it with his bare hands, before shoving the entire ship towards the reef where it's snapped in two. Namor brings the two divers back to his homeland, bragging to them about how he used his superior strength to take down the ship. He has a meeting with his leader, the Holy One, and they unmask the two suits, surprised to find Earthmen inside of them. His mother shows up at the meeting as well, very proud of him for taking the first steps in their war for revenge. She then orders that the two bodies be put up on display in the royal chambers for all of their people to see. He asks his mother why exactly she hates Earthmen so much, something that confuses him because his own father was an Earthman. His mother tells him that his father was a decent man, but the rest were cruel. Namor's father, Leonard Mackenzie, had been the captain of the Oracle, a ship out doing scientific experiments. Unfortunately, these experiments had them dropping bombs into the water above the Sub-Mariner homeland, killing their homes and their people. His mother was the most human-like amongst their race, so she had been sent to infiltrate the humans and use her feminine wiles against them. As time passed, she learned a lot about them, and even fell in love with the captain, but this didn't stop her from feeding information back to her people. Her people wanted to attack the men, but Namor's mother tried to stop them, to warn them, but they didn't listen and were decimated again by explosives, almost exterminating their race. 20 years have passed since that time, and they have regained some of their strength. With Namor being able to live on both land and water with superior physical abilities, including the ability to fly, he was put in charge of leading their people in the coming war. So Namor decided to take his first action and attack a nearby lighthouse, bringing along his cousin Dorma. He hopes that in destroying the lighthouse, that many ships will be endangered and crash into the rocks. At the door of the lighthouse, he bids Dorma to stand guard and he charges in, destroying anything that looks important. But soon after, he hears her shout for help outside and he goes to her aid. In a flash, he dispatches the man grabbing her and at her warning launches themselves to a high up window to take out a man with a rifle. Soon they make their way to the top of the tower and they destroy the light, but are surrounded by enemies. Their only escape is to launch themselves at a plane flying overhead. Climbing in, they send the unfortunate pilot flying from his cockpit and off of the plane. Namor bids Dorma to meet him back at home, and he dives into the ocean to find further adventures.